Did you grow up with an angry parent or someone who raged? If so, that is one of the most anxiety-producing experiences a child can have, and it has a major impact. So in this video, I'm going to share 7 signs that behavior is still impacting you today, but stay until the end because there's also good news. There's a superpower that you get when you live with people who are excessively angry. And I'm going to show you how to use that to your benefit at the end of the video. But first, my name is Michelle Ferris. I'm a psychotherapist and I love helping people create relationships that work. So the first sign is when you grew up with angry parents or someone who raged, you feel like you're walking on eggshells all the time. You're constantly anticipating somebody else getting upset because how could you not? The problem with destructive anger is that it's unpredictable and you don't see it coming. And sometimes what kids will do is they're like sponges and we soak up the emotional energy in the room we're in and in the family we're in. So you learn to do that to stay safe. Number 2, you blame yourself when things go wrong. And the reason that happens is because often people who are angry tend to blame others a lot. So instead of being accountable for them having anger issues, they blame you. They might say things like, well, I wouldn't be angry if it weren't for you, or if only you were smarter or more helpful or faster doing the chores, I wouldn't be so upset. So they convince you that you're the problem. So you learn to blame yourself when something happens instead of being able to recognize that you're really okay as you are, and all kids make mistakes and it's part of learning. You're afraid to be honest about how you really feel because you think the other person's going to get upset. And based on your experience growing up with angry parents, that is a high likelihood. So it's understandable why you would grow up and have that as a byproduct or an aftermath from living with anger, because you are going to feel more unsafe in relationships with other people because you're going to anticipate an angry response. Number 4, you tend to doubt yourself a lot and your own perceptions. And the reason this happens is because people who are angry tend to gaslight us a lot. And they do this because they minimize the effect of their anger. They might say something like, well, I don't have an angry problem. It's because of you this is happening. And they deny how hurtful their behavior is. And whenever we deny somebody else's reality, that's the theme of gaslighting, is denying someone's reality. So of course, in adulthood, you're not going to be able to trust yourself and your own perceptions. Number 5, making mistakes triggers intense shame and even sometimes a fear of retaliation. Because you didn't learn that making mistakes were okay. You learned to avoid making mistakes so that the other person wouldn't rage at you because it was unsafe. So trying to be perfect then becomes the goal, which of course creates a lot of internal stress and anxiety for a child. Number 6, you confuse normal feelings of anger with rage. So when you're in a conflict, you actually think the other person's attacking you or screaming at you when they actually aren't. But it's because it's such a trigger for you, because when you grow up in that much anger over and over again over 18, 20 years, you're gonna react more intensely to it than the average person. And that's totally normal given where you came from. So the 7th one, okay, this is the one that leads to the superpower, so hang in there with me. You are hyper aware of other people's feelings and moods. And this is your superpower because maybe as a child you were labeled sensitive, which was actually not considered something positive, probably considered a criticism. But your superpower is being able to walk in a room and assess who's upset, who's angry, and what feels unsafe to you, because you're much more emotionally aware of other people's feelings than the average person. And that's a strength, because what I want you to do is I want you to trust that and use it to protect yourself in certain situations. So for instance, if you're out in public and somebody is screaming in a mall, you're not going to want to go towards them. You're going to want to go, you know what? I don't know what this person's going to do. I'm going to head to the exit, because you use that information to keep yourself safe. Now, the one thing I don't want you to do, which is the pitfall of this superpower, and I don't want this for you, is don't assign any meaning to the other person's upset, okay? Because that's where we go off track. You assume that the other person's upset because of something you did, and that's not true. Even when the rager tells you that it's your fault, it's really not. Their behavior is completely about them. Maybe they had a concern or a complaint about your behavior, but that's not your fault. That can be something that can be reasonably worked out with people who can communicate well. But ragers have to blame other people because they can't stand the focus being on them. So your superpower is being able to really trust that you know when something doesn't feel right. And I want you to trust that in your everyday life, because that's how you're going to get healthier. And that's how your relationships are going to get healthier. So my relationship checklist is another way you can start to work on your relationships, because it's going to help you assess what's healthy and what isn't. And that's what we're doing when we're doing relationship recovery, is we're assessing, okay, who's good for us, who isn't, what's my relationship behavior like, because really we need to be able to improve ourselves, and the relationship checklist is going to help you do that. Thanks so much.